bringing us out of, which is that old thought system. I have to figure this out myself. Why would you do that? Your higher loving self is right there with you, ready to help you out in that and to bring the answer to you. It's not a burden to give up walking the road by myself.
That's right.
It's a joy now to always keep remembering, oh yeah, I got the answer all to everything walking with me.
Yeah, exactly. We have. Thank you, Amber, for letting us know. Um, and she said she couldn't hear me, so I went and
She has no sound.
right. So I went and changed and it says it's, so let me know, Amber, if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear us. We're using a new system today. We're on a new platform. So thank you for your patience as we learn it and work out the bugs in it. Okay.
Yes. And hopefully you can hear us and allow me to say thank you, Anna, for all the hours you have spent putting all this together.
Thank
She
you,
has
honey.
worked tirelessly to
learn. She says, sometimes I can hear you and sometimes I can't. Very strange. Okay. Well, let's see. Hopefully you can now. Does that sound better? Oh, she says she can hear us. Yay. Thank you, Amber. We truly did not know we didn't know that our sound was off until you mentioned that. So thank you very, 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 very much.
Yes.
And then let us know if it's too loud or anything like that. Okay, so it's possible that nobody heard anything we said up to now.
It's possible.
The way we are with our teacher. Yes, I got you now. Wonderful. Okay, great. So,
well, how about you repeat where we're at? Let's
okay, where it's right here. Yeah, let's go. I'm going to just do the first paragraph again because it really says it all and it sets it up. Yeah. Okay. So this is to all of you guys who've been out there doing your best to be a teacher, teaching love and truth and freedom and goodness. You've been trying to do the good work and being a voice for the good news, for trying to help people out. This is speaking to us. Okay. And the title is The Reward of Teaching.
Yeah.
So here we are, been trying to demonstrate love and be loving and teach love instead of fear. And then it's speaking to us who have said, okay, yes, I do want to take my place among the healers of the world. I do, which means I want to be a teacher of love. I want to start teaching love and truth and freedom. Okay. It says, we have already learned that everyone's teaching and everyone is teaching all the time. Whatever you believe, you are teaching.
Right.
Whatever you believe, you are demonstrating and you are broadcasting, whether you realize it or not. Now, you may have taught well, and yet you may not have learned how to accept the comfort of your teaching. Who could that be? So, we've been teaching love and truth and freedom, but we may not have been allowing ourselves to accept the comfort of our teaching ourselves, right? And if you will consider what you've been teaching, all that love and truth and guiltlessness and sinlessness, if you will consider what you have taught and how alien what you're teaching is to what you thought you knew in the past, you'll be compelled to realize that your teacher came from beyond your thought system. Right? That's why you've been able to teach what you've been able to teach, even though it's the opposite of everything you ever learned in the past. Because it's a teacher within you that has come from far beyond your thought system. So therefore, this teacher within you is able to look upon what you learned from your past, your old thought system, and look upon it fairly and perceive that your old thought system was untrue.
Mhm.
So our teacher was like, "Oh, your old thought system, that's untrue." Okay. How do we know it's untrue? Because it's unloving.
Right.
It's untrue because it's unloving. All right. And so from the perspective of our teacher, whose thought system is far beyond our own thought system, from that perspective, we can see through our teacher's eyes that our old thought system is untrue.
Mhm.
All right. Now, and our teacher must have shown us that our old thought system was untrue from the basis of a very different thought system, and a thought system with nothing in common with your thought system. For certainly what your teacher has taught and what you have taught through this teacher have nothing in common with what you taught before you invited your teacher into your mind. And the results of inviting your teacher into your mind and accepting your teacher's teachings and allowing your teacher to teach through you, the results of that have been to bring you peace where there was pain. And the other results of allowing your teacher to teach you a different thought system and teach through you was that suffering has disappeared and been replaced by joy. That's the results that's the results that we know have occurred from allowing our teacher to teach us a thought system that's opposite of what we learned from the past, and then teach it through us and teach it well. So it says you've taught well.
Mhm.
What was that first line? You've taught well. Oh, that's later. Yeah. Oh, you may have taught well. So this
Right.
teacher has been teaching well through us.
Mhm.
But we may not yet have learned how to accept the comfort of what our teacher's been teaching through us.
That's that's funny because a lot of us, I know Anna and I do all the time. We're like, use our body for whatever you want, Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And Spirit's like, okay, I want to teach others to be comforted.
Mm-hmm.
I want to teach others to trade their pain in for joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've given up our mouth, our hands,
Our whole
our
body.
bodies, our time
Mm-hmm.
to
A
be
communication
healers,
device.
like conduits for Spirit to go
Mhm.
through.
Mm-hmm.
And Spirit's going, you've really done that well.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you've laid your life down for God, for
Yes.
Spirit, for love.
You've given your body over
Yeah.
to let Spirit teach love through you.
Yeah.
That's no small thing.
It's almost like you come to the king and the king goes, oh, you want to be of service? Okay, take this bag of money and take it to that family over there, and you take the bag of money and you
Right.
take this
That's
basket
right.
of food there,
That's right.
and you give this people a tent and these people a car,
Mhm.
and you keep just delivering what the
all
king
this
gives
good
you to
stuff.
take.
Right.
And then one day the king calls you in and goes, man,
Good
well
job.
done, good and faithful
Mhm.
servant.
Yes, exactly.
Welcome into the joy of the Lord, which is the kingdom of the heaven, which is receive your reward.
That's right.
You know, you've been given rewards. Receive your reward.
Exactly, and that's what A Course in Miracles is teaching us: is that what we allow Spirit to give through us is how we come to know ourselves.
Yeah.
By your fruits you shall know yourself.
Right.
By what is coming through you.
Right.
So it says that you only know that your higher teacher is within you as you see it working through you.
Mm-hmm.
So I only know that I have this genius higher self within me as I see it working through me.
Mm.
You know, and so yeah, that's really beautiful. I love this line in paragraph 2. You may have been teaching freedom, but you have not learned how to be free yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were talking about earlier when we didn't have any sound, when nobody could hear us. Thank you, Amber.
And it's funny because I sit here going, you know, this section is talking to the healers.
Yep. This is the comfort for the healers. that have been healing well, but have not allowed their full healing for themselves.
Right.
And that's most of us. The Course in Miracles calls us unhealed healers.
Right.
But it's okay, because the way you get healed is by healing.
Is by becoming a healer.
You can't wait till you're perfectly healed
Right.
to teach freedom, to teach love, to teach sinlessness. It's not like being a teacher of other things where you have to learn, you have to like do it well and be fully realized as that teacher before you teach it. Course in Miracles says, no, first you decide you want to be a channel for love, then you learn how to do it. And you learn about it as you allow it to be done through you.
It fits into all the other finger holes of the gloves of A Course in Miracles. Like, nobody goes by themselves. So to wake up, you have to shake somebody else to wake them up. Mm-hmm. And by shaking them, by being a conduit for heaven to flow through to reach another, you become woken up yourself with others. Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful concept. It's like, rather than just coming and getting a gift all by yourself, you come with somebody else all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful.
Your healing is our healing. Mm-hmm. That is really cool. That's the joining of these podcasts is your healing is my healing. My healing mm-hmm. is your healing. Mm-hmm. We have to heal together. Such was the way that Creator, that love set it up. Mm-hmm. Love's like, I don't want just one of you to come home. I want both of you to come home.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And you can't come home without the other.
Right.
And that's really what healing really means. It's like, come on, let's go. It's not like I heal you. It's, hey, let's go home together. Right. Because we can't get back to peace by ourselves. Right. So that's really what the healer is doing, is saying, come on, I'm going to take your hand. We're the same. We're equal. Come on, let's move toward the love. Let's move toward the light.
Right.
All right. Beautiful. Amber says, when I'm saying my prayers in the morning, that's one of my favorite parts, is when I pray for all of us to heal together. Beautiful. That's it.
That's awesome, Amber. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, like the Course in Miracles says, we either heal together or not at all.
Right.
Healing is a collaborative venture, is what the Course in Miracles calls it. Okay. Healing is when you don't see the differences, when you see no separate interest, when you perceive equality in the other. That's where healing comes from. Mm-hmm. When we remember that we're equal, we're the same, we're joined, we're connected. That's where the healing comes from. Not, I grant you the healing that I have that you obviously don't. That's not healing. Okay.
Something that we read this afternoon, mm-hmm. Your mind is too powerful for exclusion.
To be subject to exclusion.
So mm-hmm. when your mind is too powerful to do this game of exclusion, it knows that the mind is so powerful in its true self. It knows that's what's true for one is true for another.
That's right.
And if what's true for you is you deserve wholeness, mm-hmm. you deserve freedom,
right?
You deserve to be able, whatever pain you have, mm-hmm. Anna and I truly believe 100%, whatever pain you have, we truly believe that not only are you deserving of trading that for joy, but that it is possible.
Absolutely.
Now, do Anna and I know how that's possible? Or do you? No. And that's why we're not alone. That's why we have a real mighty companion, our higher loving self. Some call it the Holy Spirit. Some call it the voice of God. Some call it, our true essence within each of us. It's our true self within. We're having a hard time accepting that. Man, my true self is I am in the essence of Creator
Mhm.
itself. I am in the essence of God,
Mhm.
God's own being, God's own
Mhm.
self. I am.
What
I
God
am.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we're like, oh, that's pretty arrogant.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting. Like, our goal here is to become as loving to ourselves as we are to others. You know what I mean? It's like there's something in me that wants to be loving to others, is loving to others, but yet is not accepting that love from myself as much as I'm giving it. So I'm really just learning how to be as loving to myself as I am to everybody else.
Right.
You think about it, most people, the person you give the hardest time to is usually yourself.
Yeah, of course.
Especially if you're somebody who's made it their mission to be a loving person.
And not only that, in the identification of the body,
Mm-hmm.
we're having a hard time seeing ourselves as part of God because God's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at me and I'm like, I'm getting old.
Mm-hmm.
I got dizzy walking today. And so it's hard for us to accept our real true self. I mean, our real true self is beyond the description of awesome.
But notice how when we're with other people, all we're saying is you're not your body. You're amazing. You're brilliant. You're beautiful. You're awesome.
You're not that.
You deserve every good thing.
Right.
So we're just learning how to accept the love and the freedom and the truth and the joy and the innocence that we have taught well. That was the first paragraph. You have taught well.
Right.
Meaning you've taught love and you've taught freedom and you've taught truth and you taught it well. No. So we're just trying to stop excluding ourselves.
Right.
That's what we're learning how to do. So then in paragraph 4, it says, this is a course in how to know yourself. This is a course in how to know yourself. Then it says, you have taught what you are, but you have not let what you are teach you. So I've taught others it says, I have taught that I am innocent. I have taught innocence. I have taught guiltlessness. I have taught freedom. I have taught love, but I haven't let it teach me. Isn't that interesting? And that makes sense because, like we were saying earlier, that in this particular curriculum, first you decide to become a teacher and a healer, and then you learn what that means. Then you learn how to do it. So first you give it, then you accept it.
Again, everything backwards from the way the world does it. The world's like, well, first you become a professor.
Right.
A Mr. Know-it-all, and then you can teach.
Right.
And this course says, well, first you have to recognize that you don't know anything.
First you start teaching.
And then you just have to be willing and you're going to be a teacher.
But
I don't know anything.
Yeah, first you start teaching
what
your teacher is teaching you.
Right.
Which is totally different than everything you ever learned from the past.
Right.
Okay. Then you accept it for yourself and become it.
Right.
Then you remember what you already are.
And in the past world's teaching, you become it, like you become the master mechanic.
And then you go to work.
You go
exactly.
To work
exactly. This is very different. So it says, you have been very careful to avoid the obvious, which means you have been very careful to avoid and not see the real cause and effect relationships that are perfectly apparent. Okay. We've been trying not to see the real cause and effect relationships that are obvious. Like you were saying earlier, if I give an unloving thought, then I'm going to experience it myself. That whatever I'm giving, whatever I'm sharing is what I am going to be experiencing myself. That's the real cause and effect relationships that are really obvious. And we've been very careful to avoid the cause and effect relationship, for, what is the cause of the effects I'm experiencing.
Right. The old teaching is we're separate.
Mhm.
And so my cause is not my own effect because I'm causing an unloving kind thought or action to you,
Mhm.
but because I think I'm independent, I'm separate than you, then the old thinking is that doesn't affect me how I treated you.
Mhm.
Not realizing the connecting the dots because we just live this life of that's what it is
Unconsciousness.
to be when they say they're asleep, they're not
Right.
awoke,
That's what it means.
is they're not aware of cause and effect. The way I treat
Relationships.
you
Right.
is the way I treating literally myself.
Exactly.
And in the new thinking, you realize we're not separate. We're
Mhm.
one. We're joined. That's how Creator made it. We
Mhm.
can't get away from each other. If one tries to leave the 91.9, it's not going to last because the 100 has to be the 100. What
Mhm.
happens to one happens to all. And we wake up to that and I believe that's probably what it's saying is you've done well teaching that,
Mhm.
but are you accepting that the way I treat others?
Mhm.
And that is a fight all the time,
It's a challenge. I mean, truly, it's easy. It's easy to teach the truth.
Yeah,
It's easy to teach freedom,
yeah,
but it's a whole nother thing to apply it to yourself. It's easy to say to others, well, you're innocent, there is no sin. But when your ego's telling you that you should feel ashamed, it's a whole nother thing to accept your sinlessness.
right.
So but that's the way it is, that if you want healing, the Course in Miracles says, if you want to be healed, you basically have to become a healer.
Right.
You have to learn how to heal, because only what you give to others do you believe that you deserve.
Right.
So if I am not giving love, then there's no way that I'm going to ever believe really that I deserve only love.
Right.
And so I have to teach that people deserve only love in order for me to accept eventually that I deserve only love, whatever mistakes I've made.
Yeah, it really makes sense now. It started out with saying what we teach, we're what we believe about ourselves, we're teaching.
That's right, always.
And so now it totally makes sense as if I'm not being kind, I'm literally teaching that I don't believe that I deserve kindness.
Right.
And when you see somebody acting like that, it is a lot easier to have compassion on them because you fully realize what they're giving back to themselves.
Right.
In a short time period, it's coming.
That's right.
And you see how they're lashing out or acting out, how they in no way would want as a return to themselves, but they're not awake. They're not aware that the way I treat another is the way I treat myself. Do unto others as you're gonna be done unto.
That's exactly right. They haven't learned the true cause and effect relationships that are really obvious in their lives.
Right.
So, and then, it's a wonderful thing to remember when you feel offended or hurt by somebody, to know, oh, that's what they are asking for themselves. That's what they believe they deserve.
Right.
So, which is a big improvement than you going, that creep, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind, and how dare they, and they've hurt me, they've offended me, right?
And then when you look at them, especially from Creator's perspective, and you look at them and go, wow, they really believe that they deserve punishment. that they deserve hate,
Yes.
that they deserve evilness, that they
Yes.
deserve unkindness.
Exactly.
And when people do these acts, it's because that's what they truly believe
Yes.
that they deserve.
That's right. And
And
so
when
that
you realize that that's what they're broadcasting, and it's what the universe is going to bring back to them,
right.
because it's what they believe that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And they're projecting it out, and like a boomerang, it's going to come back.
That's right.
And what they believe they deserve, they're going to think they are experiencing.
That's right.
Because it will come back. And the guarantee of it was because it was given.
Right.
Whatever you give, you can't help but be the receiver.
Exactly. And
or the recipient.
And if you don't remember that and you go for getting vengeance or attacking back, then you're going to be creating more drama and conflict in your life.
Right.
So,
exactly.
You can remember the true cause and effect relationship for them.
Right.
And don't make that same mistake that they're making.
It's almost like looking at it from a totally different perspective, like a child, playing with something that's hurting them, and you're wisely helping them take that away so that they stop giving themselves punishment.
That's right. Exactly. Like a loving elder or like a loving parent would do, that would take away the scissors that the child is running down the hallway with, even though the child doesn't know that the child is endangering themselves.
Yeah. You wouldn't hit them over the head with the pan, afraid that they're going to accidentally cut you with the scissors.
Right.
You would figure out how to safely get them away from them.
Exactly.
To get it from harming them.
That's
would be how you're thinking about it.
That's exactly right.
So you're not going to attack back when they're acting with hate, with giving hate back, because now you got two people asleep, not realizing cause and effect, asking for what they don't want back. Do you want to ask for hate back also? Just because they're asking for hate? Of course not. That's why it says you're doing good at teaching that. Now, once you accept the ideas
for yourself.
Yeah. And it is, as I say, a challenge. I gave this realtor today on this deal. We're doing what I don't want back.
There you go.
And I'm just realizing that it's so easy to do. To give
that's what we learned.
Yeah.
In the past. And but we always get more opportunities to teach because those are our opportunities to learn. Every opportunity really is an opportunity to teach, which is an opportunity to learn. We read today with Earl, you're always teaching what you believe you are.
Right.
You're always teaching what you believe you. That's all you're ever teaching. And that's all they're ever teaching. That's why you don't have to take offense at anything anybody says that you don't like, because they're not talking about you. They're teaching what they believe about themselves. What they're saying to you that's so offensive to you has nothing to do with you at all. They literally are just saying, this is what I feel about myself. This is what I believe I deserve. This is what I want to happen to me. This is what I think I am. That's all they're saying. They just happen to be using your name.
Or somebody else.
Or somebody else's name. Exactly. But if you know that, then you can be a source of healing for them by not attacking their error and helping them even to choose once again what they would like to ask for. So, all right. So then it says, yet within you is everything you taught. So all the love, all the joy, all the peace, all the truth, all the freedom that you have taught well is still within you. Good to know.
Yep.
But what can it be within you that didn't learn what you were teaching? Okay, so there's something within me that hasn't learned what I have been teaching. Isn't that interesting? Well, it must be that the part of you that hasn't learned the love, the truth, and the freedom that you've been teaching is a part that's really outside of you. not by your own projection, but in truth. So it's interesting. So what hasn't learned what I've been teaching is my ego. And this is saying that the ego is really outside of me. It's not who I really am. Okay. So what didn't learn the truth and the love and the freedom that I've been teaching is a part that's really outside of me, not by my own projection, but in truth. And it is this part in me that hasn't learned what I've been teaching, the ego, that I have taken in. And that's the part that's not me. And whatever you accept into your mind doesn't change your mind. And problems are just beliefs in what isn't there. Problems are beliefs in what isn't there. Problems are beliefs in what is not there.
That's what the definition of a problem is a belief in something not there. Wow.
Exactly. And that's why you're upset.
Right.
Because what you believe is there is not really there. What you think is happening is not really happening.
Right.
No, isn't that interesting? That's why the Course in Miracles calls illusions problems. Problems are illusions. Problems are beliefs in was not there, which means problems are illusions. Problems are hallucinations.
Mm-hmm.
And if you knew what really was there, and if you knew what was really going on in reality, you wouldn't have a problem. You wouldn't be upset.
Right.
Because why? Because reality is established by God is always loving. It's always abundant. No sacrifices asked, no loss. There's no lack. There's no death. There's only joy and peace and freedom in reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are perceiving a lack, if you're upset, it means you must be seeing what's not really going on or what's not really happening, what's not really there. So the Course in Miracles connects reality with peace and joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not experiencing peace and joy, you're not experiencing what's really happening, what's really there.
Your mind is somewhere else.
Right. And making something up.
Right.
That isn't happening. That isn't true.
And you're emotionally, deeply responding to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Course calls it an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
An illusion's not really there. A magician does tricks by illusions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're doing is we're putting a problem up there and going, wow, look at this problem.
Exactly. Look at this lack.
And we're just focused on staring, and we're like this, just staring that way. Mm-hmm. And where reality is over here.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The opposite direction. What's the opposite of fear?
That's right. You are only upset about illusions.
Right. About what's not there.
Reality produces only joy and abundance and freedom. Okay. So I know that's really deep because everybody's like, no, my problems really are there.
Yeah.
My problems are real.
I'm not making it
I'm
up.
not making this problem up.
You want to see this letter I got from the lawyer?
From the IRS.
From the IRS.
It seems pretty real to me.
Or how much that grocery bill was at the register.
Yep, exactly.
Or to fill up my vehicle with gas.
I know lack.
Or to get a vehicle.
I know lack and deprivation seem to be the most real thing here. But the Course in Miracles tells us that in reality, there is no lack. There is no loss. There is no death.
Right.
There is no, I don't have enough to survive.
Right.
That's not how it is in the real world, in reality. And I love hearing that. So then it says, so problems are but beliefs in what is not there, what's not happening, what's not going on. And the seeming conflict between truth and illusion can only be resolved by separating yourself from the illusion and not the truth.
Yeah, we used to do it where we separate ourselves from truth.
Exactly.
And we did that by perceiving a problem.
Exactly. So in other words, the only way to resolve the conflict between what's really going on and what's not really going on is by separating yourself from the problem
Right.
and not the truth.
Right.
So how about stop separating yourself from the truth, separate yourself from the problem.
Right.
Don't separate yourself from the truth.
Right.
But like you said,
we're
that's
using
what
the problem to separate ourselves from truth.
Exactly. We've been using the problem to separate ourselves from the truth.
Yeah.
This is saying the only way to resolve the conflict between the truth and your problem is to separate yourself from the problem, not the truth.
Right. We've already did that.
Exactly. That's
With
how you
the
got
problem.
that problem.
Put the problem down.
Put your
Step
problem down.
away.
Exactly. That's what we
Very
do.
slowly.
We make a problem and then we focus on the problem, obsess on the problem, instead of setting the problem down for a moment and turning to see what the truth has to say about the matter.
How do you see the situation, higher loving self?
Exactly. But I don't want to put down my problem
Uh-uh.
because I think the only way to resolve my problem is to obsess on my problem.
Right.
And to make it real and to analyze it and to blame it and to figure it out and to call up my friends and have them agree with me that I'm right about the problem. Okay. So the only way to resolve the conflict between what's true and what's not is to separate yourself from the problem, put the problem down, and connect with truth.
Yeah.
That which is true for everyone in all space and time, all the time, unconditionally. Okay. Now, what you've been teaching, the love, the joy, the freedom, the innocence, sinlessness that you have been teaching, the abundance that you have been teaching, your teaching has already separated the truth and the problem for you. Why? Because your teacher is part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Created by God, your teacher left neither God nor you. And your teacher, who is within you, who's been the one teaching very well love and freedom through you, your teacher didn't leave God, it didn't leave you. Your teacher is both God and you, as you are God and your teacher together, because God's answer to your problem added more to you than you tried to take away.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, your teacher, the one who's been teaching love and freedom through you, your teacher has protected both your creations and you together, keeping your creations with you that you've been trying to exclude. Hi, Irene. Thanks for seeing us. We're doing this on Tuesdays when really our teaching night is Sundays.
Right.
Yes.
We were just in the mood to read tonight and thought, why not just jump online with, and whoever happens to be around, that's great.
Exactly.
If you're not, that's fine too. But
that's right.
And those that want to join later could always tune in when it's convenient.
That's right.
Or timely.
That's right. We didn't teach Sunday because we were taking Aria and Jace to the airport right around the time we would have been teaching.
Yeah.
So
they came in from Laguna Beach, California,
right.
of all the miserable places to be in the world, where it's nice and warm and sunny. In the artist town.
When we picked them up from the airport and then we drove up to the house, Aria goes, "It's 10 degrees."
Yeah. Are you
like,
perceiving a problem?
It's 10 degrees. I mean, you mean it wasn't 10 degrees in Laguna Beach, California that you
Yeah.
just came from?
When you got on the plane this morning,
It's a little contrast.
and the day that the plow truck went off the mountain,
Yes.
literally from plowing snow off the mountain, and
Mhm.
plowing snow off the top of a mountain versus coming from a sunny beach.
Yes, beach town. That's right. Oh, Spirit teaches through contrast.
Yeah.
Says so then it says so your teacher
You want to say where we're at right now?
Oh, yes.
Just joining.
Actually look, it's right there.
Yeah, but where we're at.
Oh yes, and we're in paragraph 5, sentence. I don't have sentence numbers here. So
about the middle
of paragraph number 5. Irene says, I always watch what I miss, the replay, but I love live. And sometimes I think, why aren't you teaching every day live? LOL. Well, thank you, Irene. We appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, why don't you teach every day?
We read this afternoon and we're just, I think you said it today, we're truth junkies.
Mm-hmm. We're course junkies.
Yeah, course junkies, but
yeah. But so thank you, Irene, for feeling like you could watch us every day. Thank you, honey.
And we could be with you every day.
Absolutely. We could be having interaction like this with you too every day, Irene. So thank you. All right. Now, so it says we're talking about the teacher, the voice for God that God gave us. That has been teaching very well love and freedom and truth through us, right? So that we could finally accept it for ourselves. Well, this teacher has been keeping with us what we've been trying to get rid of. So we're trying to get rid of the love, get rid of the joy, and Spirit's like, no, I'm gonna keep that truth, that truth that you've been teaching, that is within you, that you're trying to forget about. I'm going to make sure you don't forget about it. I'm going to make sure you don't exclude and get rid of the truth that is within you. So thank you, teacher, for that. And so what you have been teaching, the love, the joy, the freedom that you taught well, they are quite real. What you have taught is quite real as part of the self you don't know. And your creations, which is your loving teachings, they communicate to you through the Holy Spirit and their power and their gratitude to you for their creation. Your creations offer gladly to your teaching of yourself, who is their home. So your teachings, the teachings that you have taught, love, joy, freedom, that you have taught well to others, these are your creations. Every time you shared a loving thought, every time you reminded somebody that they're innocent and guiltless and free, every time you reminded somebody that they are really, truly free, you're creating.
Right.
These are your creations. And even though you're trying to get rid of your creations or forget about your creations, your higher self is like, I'm going to make sure you don't forget about these. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to hold on to them. Because you are your creation's host. You are host to them. Because nothing loving has ever left your mind that had that loving thought. Had a beautiful thought. Whatever loving thought you've ever had is still within your mind. It's never left your mind. So all your loving thoughts, all your true thoughts, all your helpful thoughts, they have never left your mind. Those are your creations, and they are still within your mind. They will never leave your mind.
And God has accepted them.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's so beautiful. Beautiful. Wow, this is really far beyond. Really far beyond.
I've noticed. I looked at that.
That's really far beyond.
Like that's way behind.
Wow, that's amazing.
Maybe it needs to go to the end.
Oh, maybe it does, right? Because it's live.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay. Well, we're good here. All right.
And see, is there any push this?
Oh, here we are. It's yeah, that's good. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Right. Whatever Irene says, whatever loving thought you've had, it's always in your mind. Just think about that. All of those loving thoughts all the loving thoughts you've ever given are still within your mind. I love that.
And all the ones that weren't were just it
Recycle.
wasn't creating anything.
Exactly.
So it was just like nothing.
It makes me think of the workbook lesson that says, my mind holds only what I think with love.
Right.
Or my mind holds only what I think with God. And I love that. What if your mind only held the loving thoughts that you've ever given or received?
It's almost like to say eternity only holds love. Only love, only loving, kind. That's all that eternity holds.
Yeah.
Eternity doesn't hold anything else. It doesn't hold an unkind thought, an unloving action. It doesn't hold that. Nothing.
And so any conflict or anything that's not loving or peaceful or joyous, any problem really is seeing something that's not there.
Right.
If your mind holds only what you think with love, then if you're seeing a problem or a lack or deprivation, you are literally seeing what's not there.
Right.
What was it saying earlier about illusions or problems are when you are seeing what's not there?
Right.
Right. What is really there is all your loving thoughts that you've ever given or received.
Yeah, that's what it gave as a definition for the word problem.
Yes, right.
What's the definition? Is seeing something that's not there.
That's
you
right.
read that like 3 or 4 times over and over. A problem, look it up in the Course in Miracles dictionary, is seeing something that's not there.
That's right.
Why? Because it's not, your mind is not able to hold it. Our minds can only hold that which is kind and loving.
That's right. And reality only holds abundance forever for everybody. Reality is only abundant. Reality is only eternal. Reality is only abundance for everyone. And so if we're seeing lack or deprivation or sin or guilt or something unloving, we are literally seeing what's not there.
Right.
But remember, it's been telling us in the last few days, but perception is such that you can see whatever you want to see. You will see whatever you believe. You will see whatever you want to believe. So even if there is no lack or loss or death in reality, your mind is so powerful that if you want to see lack and loss and death and deprivation, then your perception will see it.
Right.
That's how powerful our minds are.
And we believe it because we put our faith, our trust, and our hope in perception rather than in truth.
Yes.
And Irene said,
Perception.
I'm on that lesson. My mind holds only what I think with God.
Wow.
On the review, all I give is given to myself.
It's very interesting. What a non-coincidence, Irene.
What a non-coincidence.
Exactly. All right. So then in paragraph 6, it says, you are not two selves in conflict, the good self and the bad self, the evil one and the good one, like we think we are,
Right.
How we think that we're two selves in conflict. There's the good part and then there's the evil part.
There's the kind that's creating unloving thoughts and things that aren't real, illusions. We can't create what's not real or not there.
Right.
We might believe we can, but I love that there's we're we're not two selves, because earlier I was thinking, I feel like when we were reading, I literally felt like I feel like I'm a total Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like just villain running across
Yes.
the stage,
Yes.
throwing out things I don't want back,
Mhm.
not connecting the dots,
Mhm.
being unaware, treating others the way I don't want to be treated.
Mhm.
And I love hearing that we're not two selves in conflict
That's right.
with each other.
We're not a loving self and also an ego unloving self.
Right.
Okay. We're not two selves that are opposite and in conflict. That's
Right.
not our identity. That's what we learned in the past, that you're partly good and you're partly bad, and you're always trying to count the good to pardon you the bad. That's not the truth about us. We're not two opposite selves in conflict. I'm not a loving self and a mean self.
And the fearful self, which we really identify with,
Yes, we
right,
do.
is not us.
Exact. That's the
And
point.
isn't that weird that we don't want to give that part of us up?
Isn't that
'Cause
interesting?
I feel more connected to my fearful self
Mhm.
than my not fearful self.
Right.
And yet that's not true.
That's right.
That's not me. But yet I'm going, but
Mhm.
then you're getting rid of like a big part
what you
of me.
identify with
I
for
mean,
all your life.
that's who I know myself to be, but that's what our ego has done, is the illusion is a trick,
Mhm.
has tricked our mind into believing we're something that we're not. And
That's
that's why the Course is calling us back home, how to, by knowing ourselves, who we are.
Mhm.
And to know thyself is to know, oh, I'm not a fearful self.
That's not me.
That's not me.
That's what we're learning how to do.
And why would we be afraid of giving that up anyway?
Exactly.
Like, why are we clinging on to wanting to keep this fearful image of ourselves?
Mhm.
Isn't that strange? That's the ego screaming of, don't forget about me.
Exactly. Don't kill me.
Yeah, don't kill me. Don't make me non-existent.
Exactly.
As I already am.
Exactly. The ego is a parasite that lives off of us, but and so the ego's greatest terror is that we wake up and go, that's not me. I don't need that. That's
Right.
not me at all.
Right.
And so when we turn to truth, when we turn to loving ideas, the ego feels like its existence is threatened.
Mhm.
Because what does it say today? It says the ego wants no part of truth, because the truth is that the ego doesn't exist. And so the ego doesn't want any part of truth, because the truth is that the ego isn't real.
You've heard of the truth will set you free?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the truth will set you free from the identification that I'm a worrying self,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a fearful self,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a lacking self. My true self doesn't believe any of those concepts. And the fight back home is to let go of these self concepts that aren't us.
Mm-hmm.
We are not given a spirit of
That's
fear.
right. And so the Course in Miracles calls the ego, earlier in a paragraph, it said the ego, the unloving, fearful part, is actually outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing apart. It's
Right.
not even a part of who we are. It's just a belief. So we're learning how to not identify with it.
Mm-hmm.
instead of think, well, that's the real part, and then the loving part, well, that's the part that was drunk or high.
Yeah.
That's not the real me.
Right.
Right. So we're learning how to stop identifying with that ego, meaning when we're aware of our ego, we're learning from the Course to go, That's not me. That's my ego. That's my ego, and I'm not the ego. That's not me. All right. Like you said, we're learning how to separate ourselves from the ego and not from the truth of who we are. So it says, you are not two selves in conflict. I mean, what is beyond God? If you who hold God and whom God holds are the universe, then everything besides you and God in the universe, all else must be outside the universe where nothing is. I love that. So if you who hold God and whom God holds are the universe, then all else besides you and God must be outside where nothing is. So that's why you're not two selves in conflict, because there is, if you and God are the universe and everything, then what's not you and God is nowhere. It's nothing. Okay. It says, you have taught this, and from far off in the universe, yet not beyond yourself, the witnesses to your teaching have gathered. Why? To help you learn what you have taught. And so I so love that. Talk about universal backup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so you have been teaching, and you have been teaching well. You've been teaching freedom. You've been teaching sinlessness. You've been teaching that love is released from guilt. You've been teaching, innocence and guiltlessness. You've been teaching release from guilt. You've been teaching the real meaning of freedom. And
that you deserve happiness.
That's exactly right.
Joy.
Exactly. And he says, so you have been teaching this, and from far off in the universe, yet not beyond yourself, the witnesses to what you've been teaching have gathered. Those who are witnessing to the good and the love that you have taught, those witnesses to what you have taught are gathering. And where they come from far off in the universe, yet not beyond yourself, because remember, you and God are the universe. Remember that? And the witnesses to what we have taught are gathering to what? To help us learn ourselves what we taught. Interesting.
Now, that doesn't
It's very
give me
intergalactic.
goosebumps. I don't know what would.
Exactly. That's I like, I'm way into extraterrestrial everything.
Yeah.
And so to hear about witnesses to the good teaching that we've been doing, coming from far off in the universe, yet not beyond ourselves, because we are the universe. They've gathered to help us learn now what we taught, taught well. I love that.
Yeah.
Talk about cosmic backup, cosmic support. It's like the cosmic support team has arrived from Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah.
Where I go when I dream.
Now, remember at the beginning, we were talking about, how you come in and we don't know what we're doing as teachers of God. We're just willing to see the interest of another, that they deserve healing, that they deserve to be happy, that they deserve joy. You want to be a teacher of God. You want to deliver the good news.
Yeah, you want to be helpful.
But the beauty is of this story, the way it works in God's university, is you don't know what you're doing. You start out not knowing what you're doing. You're just willing. And then that willingness, you begin teaching. And you're teaching. You deserve love. You deserve innocence. You deserve joy.
You're entitled to miracles.
You deserve happiness. Yeah, that's how that story went. Well, how do you want it to go now? You're delivering the good news that people are worthy, but yet you're like them. You do not know how to receive.
For yourself.
You haven't received
the
for yourself.
Comfort.
And the part of the biggest problem is we don't know how. And because of that, our witnesses way out into the universe, in other words, beyond this world, have witnessed. And I just love this so much, because sometimes I think teaching is, how many people are watching, how many people have commented, or is it really being effective?
Mhm.
But the real healing is the universal witnesses are coming in and they're going, okay, Greg, okay, Anna, okay, Irene,
Mhm.
okay, all you mighty companions.
Mhm.
It's now time for us, the witnesses, to help you what? Help you learn that you're deserving of all the things that you're promoting
Exactly.
out to your brothers and sisters.
Exactly. And how amazing is it when the witnesses that are here to witness to what we've taught come from beyond, what does it say, from far beyond the universe. And they say,
Yeah.
from far off in the universe,
Right.
and they're going to come here to witness what we've been teaching, meaning like, good job.
Yet
That's
not,
exciting.
yet not beyond
Yes,
yourself.
exactly.
Reminding us that that light is still within us.
Exactly.
It's never left us.
That those who are far off in the universe are still one with us,
Right.
and we're still connected to those who even seem far off in the universe.
Right.
And they've come from far
Have
off
gathered.
in the universe. They have gathered.
I love that.
They have gathered around us to help us to learn from the teaching that we have been doing for others. That's just really cosmic. It's really cosmically cool. I love that.
I love it too.
That's great. And it says,
like, hey, y'all.
Exactly. Where did you come from? Far off in the universe, home for you,
Anna and I are commonly joking around. We'd be driving down the road laughing about how this happened and that happened, and we go, man, that's got Holy Spirit's fingerprints all over it. And then we'll laugh and we'll say, we see y'all.
See what
we
you're
see
doing.
you.
Yeah.
And they have gathered.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Yes.
They have
gathered around us.
Learn
yeah, exactly.
that you're deserving of joy and happiness.
And how is it that they're going to help us to learn from what we taught to others? Well, their gratitude to us is going to join with our gratitude and God's gratitude to strengthen our faith in what we taught. So that's how they're going to do it. That's how they've gathered here from far off in the universe to help us learn what we taught, in that they're going to join their gratitude to us. And they're going to join God's gratitude to us and our gratitude to them. And they're going to strengthen. They're going to give us gratitude for what we've taught, and they're going to join their gratitude to us with God's gratitude to us to help strengthen what we taught. That's how they're going to do it. Okay, that's so beautiful. And then it says, and the reason that they're going to do that, the reason they're going to come from far off in the universe, though not beyond ourselves, is because what we taught is true. Okay. And alone, we stand outside what we taught, which means apart from it. But with these witnesses from far off in the universe who've come to strengthen what we taught and to witness to what we taught, but with these witnesses, we must learn that we but taught ourselves, and we only learned from the conviction we shared with them. Okay, so that's what's going to be happening as a result of us having decided that we wanted to take our place among the teachers and the healers of the world. And he says, and this year, you begin to learn and make learning commensurate with teaching.
That's interesting.
I love that.
This is the section we read just before we started our
recommitment. That's right. That's exactly
Anna and
right.
I were reading this with Earl, And the three of us actually applied this application to our lives and
Made a recommitment
recommitment to reading more
study.
often. That's why I
Right.
said when Irene was talking about doing this all the time is
Mhm.
that's what we started doing is every
Mhm.
night we read for at least an hour, and if we feel like going longer, we do.
That's right.
And we journal, take notes, we
Mhm.
laugh, we talk, and
Mhm.
we discuss it. And I love it. This year, and what do we do at the beginning of a year? We make
New Year's resolution.
resolutions.
And here we are, December 3rd.
Right.
So we're not
Coming
even a whole
up to
month
a
from
new
the
year.
new year. So this is a beautiful New Year prayer, a New Year resolution.
Right.
So this new year, you're going to begin to learn. And you know what that means? It means you're going to make your learning commensurate with your teaching. In other words, this year, you're actually going to be learning what you're teaching.
Yeah. Just,
Instead of like teaching something, but you don't learn it yourself.
yeah.
This year, you're going to learn what you're teaching.
Yeah. So
You know?
teach only love, even when you don't want to give only love.
Mhm.
And what's your prize and reward is to learn
Mhm.
that you're only love.
That's exactly right. That's why, you know, that's why we're teaching it. At first, we're teaching it because that's the only way to learn it.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to teach love because I'm such an enlightened person and I
Right.
have something that everybody else doesn't have. No, you're going to teach because you need to learn it.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm giving
Yeah.
love in this situation, and it obviously
Mhm.
doesn't seem like it's deserving of love.
That's right.
But I'm trying to teach something that I don't understand.
They don't believe yet. They haven't
I don't
accepted yet
believe
for
it yet. I
myself.
haven't accepted the ideas for myself yet. But the only way it's so backwards from the
Yes.
world is I have to teach it, even though I don't understand it, even though I don't get it. I'm still gonna give
Teach it.
love,
Mhm.
even
Right.
when I feel like it's not deserving of it,
That's
because
right.
it's what I want to
That's
learn.
what it means.
I don't want to learn hate. I've been learning hate
Yeah,
my
been there,
whole
done
life.
that. Got the scars to prove it.
Yeah, so new class,
That's
new
right.
curriculum.
So this year, instead of teaching really well, but not really having accepted the comfort of our own teaching, this year we're going to be teaching well and we're going to be able to apply it to ourselves and accept the comfort of our own teaching. That's
Right.
that's how this year is going to be different. I'm not just going to be teaching it, but not applying it to myself.
Right.
This year I'm going to be teaching it and I'm going to be applying it to myself. Okay. And then it says, now we have chosen this to make our teaching commensurate with our learning. We've chosen this by our own willingness to teach. Okay. We have been willing to teach. Obviously, you know, we have been willing to teach, and that's a miracle. And so when we decided that we were willing to teach, then we also chose that eventually we would be accepting for ourselves what we were teaching. And that's why, though you seem to suffer for it, the joy of teaching will yet be yours. Okay. So notice how part of us is like, why am I the one who's always trying to be the bigger person and try to be forgiving? Why aren't they trying to be forgiving? You know, so we seem to suffer for we seem to suffer for our willingness to teach. We seem to be, why am I the only one who's trying to practice the truth and be forgiving? So, though you seem to suffer for teaching, the willingness to teach, the joy and the rewards of teaching will yet be yours. That's what it's trying to tell us. Okay. So, even though it seems like more is being asked of you than others, and you're being asked to be loving first, and that sometimes seems like a sacrifice, the truth is that the reward of teaching, being the one to choose love first, will yet be yours. Rewards are on the way. the joy of teaching, the rewards of teaching. Now, why is that? That even though you seem to suffer for it, the joy of teaching will yet be yours. Because the joy of teaching is in the learner who you give the teaching to, who then offers that learning back to you, the teacher, in gratitude, and shares with you the learning that you taught them. That's the joy of teaching. That's the joy. The joy of teaching is not like, oh, I'm so smart, I just taught this wonderful class. The joy of teaching is when we teach, and then the one who was the learner accepts it in gratitude and gives it back to us. That's the joy of teaching.
Yep.
That's the joy of teaching. Not like, oh, I'm such a great teacher. It's the learner who accepts what we shared in gratitude and then gives it back to us, which is how we learn it.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, as they learn from us, then our gratitude to our teacher who teaches us what it is will grow and help us honor our teacher that's within us. And then we will learn our teacher's power and strength and purity, and we will love our teacher as our Creator does. God's reality, God's love has no limits and no end. And what that means is that there's nothing in God that is not perfect and eternal. And guess what? All that is perfect and eternal, guess what? That's you. And nothing outside of that which is perfect and eternal is you. Nothing outside of what's perfect and eternal is you. Wow.
And that's been another big key word that haven't we been hearing a lot from Spirit lately is gratitude. Today we were just reading is the only thing that you should be seeing in your brother and sister is gratitude.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And when we don't have gratitude for our brothers and sisters, then the only thing other than that we'd have to offer is attack.
Yeah, that's right.
Love is gratitude. Kindness is gratitude. Those are all like the fruits of it.
Yeah, I love it. Irene says, why do I have to be the bigger person? We seem to suffer for the willingness to teach because it builds character, and character strengthens one's spiritual foundation, which brings you peace. Exactly. And the willingness to teach is the willingness to learn. And though you seem to suffer for your willingness to teach forgiveness, even when your ego would like you to hold a grievance, is always rewarded. Literally, beings come from far off in the universe to give you their gratitude for teaching forgiveness, even though you're like, should I teach forgiveness?
To give you gratitude for you giving gratitude to God's children.
Exactly. So even though you seem to suffer for your willingness to be the more loving person at the moment and give forgiveness instead of the grievance or the vengeance, that will be rewarded. And beings from far off in the universe are going to come and they're going to gather around you and they're going to give you their gratitude to you for being willing to teach the sleeping masses, forgiveness.
We call it the universe, some of us, heaven, whatever.
Reality.
But it's literally beings coming. Even though we can't see them, we're not aware of their presence, we may not feel them or touch them, but we will certainly see or
Experience their gratitude.
their gratitude.
Exactly.
It will come in many different forms to us, but if we're connecting the dots, that's why I said earlier that Anna and I will often joke around and go, we see you guys. It's them
Yes.
coming to give
Those are
their
the-
gratitude. It's
That's
not because
right.
you're the special one.
That's right.
You're the one that God really favors.
Yep.
No, it's because you've been doing the work.
Exactly. You have said, I'm willing to take my part in the healing of the world. And so now they need to support you because their will is one with God's will, which is that humanity awaken and heal. And so anyone who says, I'm willing, I want what God wants. God wants humanity healed, and God's will is my will. I want humanity to be healed. Now you're working on behalf of God and God's will for humanity, which means that now all the beings who work for God, then now their job is to support you, who is supporting God's will, which is the healing of the world, healing of humanity. So it's like when you decide that you want to be helpful, take your part in the healing of the world, then it's like you go on cosmic scholarship.
Right. Or cosmic support.
Cosmic support, exactly. When you join your will to the will of God, and God's will is the awakening of God's children. God thought, my children sleep, they need to be awakened.
Like the real tithe and offerings that God wants is our support. And how do we give our support? We just show up at God's office and say, hey, God, I wanna help you today. What are you doing? Well, I'm changing out the brakes on this car. And you're like, wow, I've never done that. I have no clue how to do that. And God's gone, I don't need you to know. I just need to use your hands. When I need a tool, I'll tell you what I need. You go grab it off the bench, bring it over to me. I'll show you how to use it if I need you to do something. And so I'm not freaking out that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm aware that God is our creator, is leading and guiding me on what to do. And that's how that just make sense. That's how I'm going to learn is by teaching it, by doing it.
Right, exactly. So think about that when your will and God's will are one, then now since you're supporting God's plan for the healing of mankind by, like you said, just showing up and saying, put me to work.
Right.
Now God's helpers are now going to help you.
All the mechanics in the hose shop come over.
Exactly.
When you bend over to pull this hose out, and they're like, let me help you with that clamp. And another one comes over, here, step on this stool, get a little bit of height on that thing.
Yeah, right.
And you're looking around, you're like, whoa, look at this. I got all these helpers all the way around me. I thought it was just me that had to figure this out.
That's right. That's why the Course tells us that that's all we need to do is to join our will with God's will, to want what God wants and to offer ourselves as messengers of what God wants for everybody. And then all of our needs are taken care of, real or imagined, because now we work for God. So we work for God and God's purpose. We serve God's will. We serve God's purpose. And so now we get all that cosmic support, because we said we wanted to help God in God's plan and purpose for the healing of humanity.
Right.
So it makes life easier. Now you feel supported in your world. Now you feel supported in your life because you chose to support God's purpose. And so now God's going to use you to teach the children of God that there is no lack, there is no death, there is no sin, there's only abundance, there's only love everywhere. So, all right, you guys. Well, there you go. Thanks for joining us. our maiden voyage on StreamYard, this new platform that we're going to be using that enables us to simultaneously broadcast on YouTube and live stream. And if you're watching on YouTube and you would like to make a contribution to our healing ministry, our Course in Miracles ministry, there is a what is it called? It's on YouTube. A super chat. You can do a super chat on YouTube. I think, if you would like to make a financial expression of appreciation. If you're watching on Facebook and you would like to support these ideas and strengthening them to go out into the world and encouraging the algorithm to send this message, this class to more of humanity, then share it on your Facebook feed. If you're watching it on YouTube, then like, share, and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested in seeing years worth of mine and Greg's classes or my classes, then they're all there on my YouTube channel. And go enjoy them, because soon there's going to be a members only section there, so you won't be able to just watch whatever I've done for free. So go enjoy those now while you can. But yeah, so that we have years worth of classes on my YouTube channel. And if you're watching on Facebook, then just know that there's all those classes on YouTube, and share it in your feed. And thank you for supporting our Miracles ministry. Thank you for being here and letting us know that you appreciate what we're doing. We appreciate you so very much. And we hope that this has been helpful.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.